Hi, Josh.
Hi, Amanda. What are we talking about today?
Well, as you know, we do a ton of severance agreement work with employees who are leaving companies for various reasons. And a question we get from a ton of Connecticut employees is, can I put some of the severance amount that my former employer is paying me back into my 401k? What do you think?
Usually not, Amanda. So we're not tax lawyers, we're not accountants, we don't give tax advice, we don't give financial planning advice, but we do represent a lot of employees in severance negotiations, as you say, and this does come up a fair amount. The reason people want to take money from their severance and put it in their 401k is they don't want to pay taxes on it right now. They want to pay their income taxes later. But that kind of tax deferral scheme comes with a whole bunch of strings, according to the Internal Revenue Code and the IRS's implementing policy guidance. And one of those strings is that the money you put into a 401k usually has to be money that you have earned as compensation for services that you have provided to your employer. A severance isn't payment for services rendered, it's payment for agreeing not to sue your employer and other promises, and as a result, it's often not eligible for a 401k. There's a second reason that it's usually not possible, which is that 401k plans exist because there is an actual plan. It's a physical document that is written out. It's very long. It's very detailed. It is often filed with the Federal Department of Labor and or with a state agency. And that plan usually specifies that in order to participate in the 401k plan, that is to defer income, to direct income that you would otherwise receive into the 401k plan, you need to be an active employee of the company. And once you're receiving the severance, you're not an active employee of the company anymore. You're a former employee of the company. So you still have a right to what you put in the 401k when you were working there, but you no longer have a right to access the benefits of the plan. Now, it can be possible in certain circumstances to take severance money and redirect it into 401k if the severance is being negotiated before the separation. It is possible, in other words, not to receive a severance when you are no longer an employee, but rather to receive a severance effectively during a notice period while you are still an employee of the company, still nominally working for the company, still providing services to the company perhaps, but you are still an employee and therefore still able to access the 401k. Now, even if you can't put part of your severance into a 401k, there might be other ways to minimize your tax liability related to a severance, but that's something that's really best to discuss with your accountant or with a dedicated tax lawyer.
These are really useful things to think about if you're separating from your employer or think you may be separating from your employer sometime in the future so that you can plan accordingly. Thank you so much, Josh, and thank you for watching. Take care.